All right, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6:40 p.m. This is Wednesday, April 2nd. I'm going to go ahead and really just jump right into it. We sort of moved the agenda around a bit so that we can give as much time as possible for our town hall. First, I want to thank everyone for being here this evening. Those of you in person and on Zoom. Zoom, if you can't hear us, let us know or give us a thumbs up that you can hear us okay. I know sometimes we have issues with audio there. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Marco Cuevas. I have the privilege of serving as the chair of the West Side Community Council, and I have an esteemed board doing various duties around the room. I have our secretary, Pete Freeman, over here, Orlando and Helen on communications in the back. Kay is our treasurer. I don't know where Eric is, and Ron, our Revite chair, is out of town, but he's definitely doing all the hard work on Revite. And we have Yvonne over here for interpretation if anyone needs interpretation. And again, please help yourself to some food in the back. We have tacos, beans, rice, drinks, and some cookies. So without further ado, also, it is First Friday here at Bell Arts. Just want to make that quick announcement. Every first Friday of the month, the artists go ahead and showcase their art here in the various studios. Just want to give a shout out to Bell Arts because it's always our host facility every month for our general meetings. So yeah. I'm just going to spend a couple minutes. If anyone wants to go ahead and introduce themselves, if you're new, returning, what have you, what brought you here this evening, and just a little bit about yourself. We have a couple minutes for that we like to do here at the Westside Community Council. So we have some mics floating around. Don't be shy. Or not. All right. Well, then let's just jump right into. If anyone wants, if anyone raise your hand, please. Yeah. All right, well, everyone's eating, so maybe we'll try that again later. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into our patrol watch report. I'm going to bring up Commander Hurd. She gives this 2 maps of crime reports every month, and we're very appreciative of the info that gets shared for the community. So please give a hand for Commander Hurd.
I have Marco's notes. Now I can just make little changes, add things to your agenda. No, I'm only kidding. So I only have one map today. Our crime analyst person called out sick all week, so I had to scramble to put this together for you today, but we got it. So we have this one with the crime stats on it. Is that going to go up, Pete, or do you not have it? Oh, it's Helen. Helen went like this, and it's happening. And we have a Google spreadsheet. Yay! Just kidding. So when you look at the map, once it pops up, you'll see the number of offenses in each category. I'm going to get this changed for you guys because I don't like that it shows so many assaults, and many of those are domestic violence incidents and things that I think that occur in somebody's house where you wouldn't really be worried about it as a general community. So when they changed the way we do our crime reporting, that those lumped into there. So I'm going to get that changed going forward, but it looks like a lot because it says 20. I'll just let you know that that's a lot of those are not like normal assaults on the street or anything like that. The one that did stand out to me that I wanted to mention to you was we did have one stabbing on the avenue. It was inside of Avenue Liquor, and it was that was a gang-related stabbing, and we know who all the players involved in that are, and it was a rival gang, and there's a lot of investigation going on for that. So I'm confident all the arrests will be made and things like that. Nobody that was not affiliated with the gang was involved. So that's what stood out to me on those. There were a few robberies. Most of them were technical robberies, like, someone grabbed something from somebody's hand or something, and so then it qualifies as a robbery. But I just wanted to mention, because one was right down the street here on Cedar, where somebody their purse was snatched from their hand. And for whatever reason, they didn't call us until like 10 minutes later when they got home, and some family member called for them. So just if something, hopefully nothing happens to any of you, but if something does happen, please call us right away, shout for a neighbor to call, or something like that, so we can get on it right away and hopefully find a suspect in the area at the time that it happens. Other than that, nothing too out of the ordinary in the crime stats. And then I had 2 other documents, Helen, that I was going to talk about. One of them is, whatever she decides, Our Explorer program. So if you were not aware, we have an Explorer program where teenagers from 14 to 17 can apply. Applications are open now, and they can come and they do weekly meetings at our station. They learn about leadership. They get to do ride-alongs and all sorts of different things. There's a whole website about it. I put the link up there, but if you they assist with things. They're volunteers once they're trained, and they can do help with the fairgrounds parking when we're doing the fair. They help with the mall parking in the Christmas time, strawberry festival, things like that. And they've also assisted with like the X Games and things like that. So they get to kind of get involved with law enforcement, learn about some leadership, and then they can explore whether they want to do something like that in their career going forward. So if you know any teenagers that might be interested in dabbling in that, please have them go online and apply with us, because it's a pretty cool program. Next one is just a save the date for all of you if you're interested. We're having a coffee with a cop at the Cafe Facel across from the high school. That's going to be on Wednesday, April 9th. And this particular coffee with the cop also is a collaboration with Autism Ventura County. So they're going to be selling T-shirts branded. One of our officers has a daughter with autism, so he helps host a team for the run. There's an autism run, and he prints these shirts and has them sells them for a little bit of a profit, and all the profit goes to the Autism Society of Ventura County. So if you're interested in joining us for that coffee with a cop, you can come just have coffee and hang out with us, or you can purchase a T-shirt or talk to representatives from the Autism Society. It's a really cool event. That's my favorite coffee with the cop of the year, because it's really involved. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. It is at 8 a.m. from 8 to 9:30. The Cafe Facel on Main Street, not the one on Mills. So it's the one across from the high school. And it's all of these this and the Explorer information is also on our Instagram. So if you follow us on Instagram, you could find the links to them there as well. So that is all I have for today, unless there's any questions for me. Questions? No? Mr. Bello?
Hi. I've been working a lot, so I haven't been able to keep up with the news. I heard there was an attempted kidnapping on Sadegway.
There was.
And then I know 3 months ago there were rumors that there was an attempted kidnapping on Olive Street. I don't know if that was actually confirmed and if anybody was arrested for that. So just curious, like, what the status is for those two
Yes.
alleged incidents.
The one on Olive, I will have to research, because I have two different stories in my head and I might be confusing two, so I don't want to tell you wrong. I do believe that one was investigated and there may have been an arrest, but I don't want to say for sure, because I can't remember for sure. The one on Sadegway and Telegraph, for sure there was an arrest, and that was actually, if you read the press release on it, there was a woman who was out jogging. And she had earbuds in and she didn't hear anything, and someone grabbed her from behind and tried to grab her. She was able to get away, and there was passing traffic, and a passerby just saw it happen and pulled over and was able to get her and go. So they got pictures of the person, put it out on a social media website, like kind of asking the neighborhood, hey, does anybody know this person? And the neighbors somebody knew who it was, and they were able to quickly identify him and get him into custody for that. So that one was good. I'm fairly certain that there was an arrest on the Olive incident as well, and there was something a little bit more to the story on that one, if I remember correctly, but I don't know for sure, so I don't want to quote myself wrong, but I can follow up with you. Yes.
Sarah, are you aware that the presidential order is not the law? That while the Supreme Court does not rule for the president to strip the citizenship of American-born children, which ordered by the Constitution, the law of all of the laws, his presidential order is null and void until the time, if remote, the Supreme Court were to validate the presidential order. And the only question I have is this. We all respect police department. The kids we have, it's safe to live there. We don't have daily shootings. That is something worthy and commendable to recognize in the community. My second question is about this. Unless a bench warrant is signed with the resident's full name and it's stamped by a judge. That is the only warrant that our police department will enforce. That any other document brought by ICE will not be honored because it doesn't have a judicial signature from the judge to order the detention of a minor or a resident or parent or grandparent of an American-born child. Would you please tell us about? Thank you.
Yeah, so just to answer your question, I'll let you know that we work at the local level here at the police department and we enforce local laws more than any other type of laws. We're not going to be enforcing any federal immigration statuses or orders from ICE or anything like that. So we won't be enforcing those. So who signed it is really not important to me because we won't be enforcing it. That's something that federal enforcement would do. So to answer your question there, the judge signing it, that would be something that the ICE agents or the federal agents that would be serving the warrant would be more concerned with rather than us, because we won't be serving those warrants. And then as far as the president's order and whether the Supreme Court or the president's order is more important or holds more weight, that's way above my pay grade. I am a commander at a local police department. Somebody with way more clout than I could answer that question.
Yeah, my other concern, I'm afraid for my parents, parents, that some ICE people that are actually ICE people, and they wanna arrest my grandparents. Will you ask police officer after making sure that it's not crime by a judge against a specific person and no crime has been committed? You will not enforce that ICE effort to detain anyone that's not backed by a judgment with full identification of any suspect.
Yeah, we as the Ventura Police Department won't be taking any enforcement on those. That's not our role. Right? The job search, you guys, you know, if anyone has a clue who our next chief is gonna be, could you just let me know? Yeah. Yeah. Are you're gonna be the chief? That's great. Yeah, so we have the interim chief, Tony Lee, who's doing an excellent job. And we're just waiting to hear back from our fearless leader, Bill Ayub, as to who he's choosing for the next chief. So I'm sure that he's got a lot of big decisions to make in that category. So we're just holding down the fort. Everything's running smooth at the police department. Tony's holding it all together. So I'm waiting as anxiously as any of you to find out who my new boss will be. But, yeah. 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 No worries. Yeah.
Support, is it always online?
No, it isn't actually. It's produced just for this meeting, but then your community council has it in their documents. And I don't know, Pete, if you guys put that out or what do you do with it?
Sorry, my first time here. So.
That's okay. There's several community councils across the city. And so each commander does, and then some of the community councils want different statistics than others. They've asked for different things. So they're kind of created for each community council. And you can give feedback to Pete if you ever want anything specific, and we can bring that for you. We don't post it online unless
No.
he does.
Commander Hurd sends it to us before every meeting, and I failed to print them today because I was.
Oh, there's
Didn't-
printed ones in the back.
Oh, are there?
Yeah, she's asking if you post them anywhere online or if they're.
We
accessible
don't
to them.
post them, but we can email them to you if you want to just email WCC or Westside Community Council at gmail.com.
There's only one in the city. It's the Ventura Police Department. You're good. No worries. And then we do actually have a live citizen crime map that's on our website. If you go on our website, you can poke around and find that. And that you can actually do your own searches if you're looking for something specific. But yeah, if you ever want the one that he produces, I mean, you can get my email, which is also on the website, or contact Pete, and he has all the past ones and things as well. Yep. All done? Oh,
Good.
Pete has a question.
Could you enlighten us or tell us about the new mounted patrol?
We can. So the Ventura Police Department, as far as I've ever known, has not had a mounted patrol, maybe way back before my time, like before I was born. But yeah, yeah. So we just launched a mounted patrol unit. You may have seen like the sheriff's department has horses that they have like out at the Ventura County Fair and things like that. So we now have 5 officers who are going to be certified to ride horses. They have to own their own horses. The city didn't go out and buy horses, so they have to own their own horses, and they, feed them and do all that on their own. But they attend some training and some specialized things for law enforcement to be able to go out, and mostly it's for PR. It'll be great for parades and for the fair and for events and things like that, but it's also good for crowd control. So it'll be used like the fair we have once in a while. Big crowds like at concerts will get out of hand or things like that, so it's good to kind of corral people or push a crowd in a certain direction having the horses. But kids love it. People love seeing the horses, so we're pretty excited. They've started their training. They go to the week-long training, I think, at the end of this month, and then we should be able to have some of them out visible in public after that. They have to get all their fancy, gear, and then they can show up. So I'm pretty excited to see that happen soon. You could be the chief that rides a horse if you want. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have. Anything else? Thank you.
Right, thank you, Commander Hurd. Also, just a quick form on etiquette in terms of the mic. Make sure you hold it up close, because having it this far, the people on Zoom can't quite hear. So just a little note on that when the mics are going around. Also, please wait for the mic to get to you, because otherwise you won't be able to have the Zoom people hear you or be able to record it. So I know you guys want to just talk like our Vice President Eric just goes and shouts things out. So, just got to have a little bit of, it helps everyone. So thank you for that. All right, before we get into our town hall panel, we have one more speaker, our communications specialist from the city, Alejandra, to go over some quick city news updates. I believe we have a slide for that. Let her go ahead and talk about that.
Thank you, Marco. Hi, everybody. Again, my name's Alejandra, and I typically come to every meeting and share some programs and events that are going on in our city. I'm also a West Side resident, so nice to see a couple of new faces here. First, we have our junk drop-off. We have an event on Saturday, April 5th, and we have a new location. This will be at our maintenance yard of San Juan. There's more information here, hyperlinked on what items you're able to bring. And we also have a special design review committee workshop coming up. You can share your ideas during the workshop to help shape the look and feel of the future development of Ventura. A Spanish interpretation will be available. This will be on April 9th at 5:30 at City Hall in our community meeting. We have an exciting event coming up in West Park. So it's our summer showcase. This is an event where you can learn about different classes, camps. You can register for all the different classes that our Parks and Recs Department offers. And this is a free event you can enjoy on Friday, April 11th at West Park. And then we also have a special event grant program that's accepting new applications. It's designed to support community events for local residents by offsetting city-required special event permitting fees. And then we have some deadlines as well. These are going to be on May 1st. It's a deadline to request a secure link to the grant portal. And then on May 5th, the application should be submitted. We also just published our activity guide. You can explore classes and camps and events for all ages, and registration opens on April 8th. And last, I have a couple, 3 more things that I'd like to share with you guys. We have our board commissions. We've launched a new online portal that makes it easier for residents to learn about and apply to our city boards, commissions, and committees. You can get involved in the decision-making and help shape our city. So we're currently recruiting for a number of board and commissions. So arts and culture, Parks and Rec, Measure O, oversight, design review, historic preservation, parking advisory, and the Ventura Port District Board. And then I also hyperlinked where you can get more information. Lastly, we have the Earth Day Festival. It's back in downtown, and this is going to be on Saturday, April 19th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Plaza Park. And we have a theme this year. It's called Healthy Planet, Healthy People. You can come celebrate with over 30 eco-friendly organizations, vendors, and activities. And this is hosted by the Merito Foundation in partnership with our City of Ventura Sustainability Division. And sorry, one last one. We have a scoping meeting for the environmental impact study for the so-called gas compressor station on April 15th here at Bellards at 6:30. So there will be a Zoom link on the Clear website and I believe maybe on our website as well. That's it for me. Perfect. Thank you. April 19th at Plaza Park. All right, that's it for me. Thank you, guys. The meeting date, that's going to be April 15th at 6:30 p.m. here at Bellards. Thanks, everybody.
Just gonna go ahead and not have the stand. Everyone's gonna have to hold the mic from now on because apparently our Zoom people can't hear. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the heart of our meeting. The reason why I'm sure most of you are here tonight for our town hall. We're gonna go ahead and invite Councilmember Campos, Trustee Forsythe, and oh no, she's like okay, one quick note change. I know on Facebook and one of our latest updates, our community development director Rachel Diamond was going to be here, but we have someone, you know, just as good, Maruja Clemcy, who's our assistant community development director. So if you see on the form where it says Director Diamond, it's actually going to be directed questions to Maruja. So please, we have speaker cards over here on the side. If you'd like to speak, please fill one out with a topic question and your name. Get it to our secretary. We'll try to sort of organize it in a way that's beneficial. So we're going to start with opening remarks, then Q&A from those speaker cards, as well as some that we received in advance, and then closing remarks. So I'm going to go ahead and invite our panelists to go ahead and settle up on this table over here. Yes. No. You want it over there? Oh. Sorry, did not have this organized in advance. All right, we're gonna go ahead and I think we have an extra mic. We're gonna go ahead and start with Councilmember Campos for opening remarks.
So welcome everybody who came. I would introduce the special public figures that are here, like the head of the Housing Authority, Jeff Lambert, but we're all important figures here in this room, so I won't. You know, there's a lot happening at the city right now. Our next meeting has tenant protections, a development project, which I'm sure Ms. Clemcy will tell you all about, at Mills and Maple that has become a bit controversial. We really want to hear from the citizens. If you can't come to the meeting, email us. It's very important for us to have the perspective of all of you and everyone you know. If someone complains to you about what's going on the West Side, give them my email address, tell them to email me, tell them to call me. Most of you have my phone number. So really, I think that's the most important message I want to put out. I'll be brief so that afterwards we can answer all your questions.
Hello, my name is Maruja Clense. Hola, me llamo Maruja Clense. I am the Assistant Community Development Director at the city. Carlene Saxton, our Assistant City Manager, and then Rachel Diamond, our Director, were both supposed to be here, but I am here as a and hopefully don't disappoint with any questions you may have for those two individuals. I will answer them to the best of my ability, and if I cannot get that information to you today, I will get it for you most definitely tomorrow, and thank you for having me.
Alrighty, good evening. My name is James Forsythe. I am a trustee for Ventura Unified. I'm also the vice president of the board. I'm a longtime teacher, educator. I lived on the avenue since 2013. And we're also going through a lot of changes. There's a lot of attention being brought on school boards all over the place. So I'm here to answer those questions if you have them. And again, if I don't have those answers, I'll definitely get your information and we'll be in contact. So thank you for having me.
Do you want to go over that slide show by chance, or?
It's up to you. Whatever. Yeah, if we're just doing a Q&A, then that's fine. We can just go. Because it's long.
It's like, yeah, all right, be more
Teachers.
present. He was so prepared. He brought us a slideshow.
Oh, yes. Thank you. One last thing. I left some LCAP data here. If you want to see like how the district's doing, you know, how many kids we have, what our budget is, go ahead. It's in English and Spanish. Pick one up on the way out or, you know, at your leisure.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to community Q&A. I'm going to invite the first speaker, Lori Steinhauer, if she wants to ask one of her questions.
Oh, sounds good. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, our esteemed team. I just kind of was thinking of my 3 priorities when I saw you were coming. First one, or the one that applies to both school and city, is what can the community do to help further the efforts to activate the school grounds as park space during non-school hours? That's number 1. Number 2 is I'd like to just first of all really thank and congratulate our Pete Freeman, who is our GPAC rep from the West Side, for really getting a lot of the West Side Community Council West Side vision into the city's general plan. And one of the beacons of that came forward and was approved last week by the city council was about the gateway at Stanley Avenue and Ventura Avenue. And it got approved as industry and neighborhood commercial. And we had talked about a community center there. And I was just curious of how we can be active in getting like a Trader Joe's and then local artisans there, how we as a community can actively be involved with the city in getting what we want in that neighborhood. So those are my 2 top questions.
I could give the answer with the school board. So we have 28 school sites throughout Ventura and also Oakview. And it's been a salient issue about our playground space and opening up to the public. Typically, schools, leave the park open, or I'm sorry, leave the playground open, and some of the community members use it as a park. Some people bring their dogs. Some people tend to sleep on our campuses. And so there's a lot of stuff going on. And after COVID, after school shootings, we made sure that we needed to kind of protect our schools. And a lot of it has to do with what's called hardening schools, and that's adding fences, adding deterrents. But typically, those are public grounds. They're not public grounds. They belong to the school district. And but we're trying to find a way where the school district can protect our kids and also have that park space for our residents. Just to kind of highlight, I think Loma Vista was an issue where we added some gates, add some security, and some of the folks around there didn't like that because that's where they take their dogs, they do their exercise. However, we've had an incident where a dog bit a child that had low visibility, and also another incident where a dog ran into a classroom. So we kind of took that as a priority. But one of the solutions that we're thinking about is partnering with the city, trying to find a solution that is equitable to both sides, that we can have these areas open. We typically have kids until about 6:30 at night, 6 to 6:30 with after school programs. So that would we would partner with the city and try to open that up for the evening and night for residents. But that's a work in progress.
Now is it on? Oh, now it's on. So that area, the zoning was redesignated so that it can be used for other than just industrial. I believe is controlled by the same real estate broker or manager. I believe the whole strip is. I think that as a community, if the community itself wants to develop it, we need to find the funding to do it. And that is possible. If you want to hire a developer to do it, there are some older developers who were working in downtown years and years ago, like Dan Fredrickson, who built the building with Lure Fish House. There's several. And if you communicate with them or contact them, they can also help you to connect with developers who will develop it per our specifications. I would recommend that you have someone at the community council, Marco or Pete or members who are really hands-on so that we don't have the issues that we've had to fight sometimes along the way. And that process has to be completed before it would go to community development. And that would be when you have an architect and have everything finished, or have a store willing to come in and develop it themselves, you know, depending on what the outreach is from the community.
Sure. Mr. Fields, did you have a question?
Let's wait for Mike.
When the INS rates a school and there are American-born children and sometimes there's Latino children, etc. What is the policy that the school district has taken to protect equally all the children under the care of the school board? And the other question I have is this. I see parents that are undocumented that have been working and paying their taxes and support the schools, etc. And I see little children that are going to kindergarten because of this presidential order that's unconstitutional, is not being validated by the Supreme Court, not validated by 37 states of the United States. It is not an enforceable law. That child, that American-born child, that are parents undocumented are taken, and the child is on his own. Has the school board been able to form some effort to help that orphan child so that he can continue assisting the school, and maybe some teacher or some committee to help that child or those children that are becoming vulnerable and parentless because of this unenforceable immigration law? Has the school board observed that?
The first question is, what happens if immigration comes to one of our schools, right? I think that's, and the other question is, what happens if a student is orphaned or left, parents are been abducted and taken back to some country, doesn't mean it's their country, but some country. So what happens? Well, first thing is, we do have a policy as far as what immigration can do and get on our campuses. Usually, they are not allowed. They're not allowed to come on campuses if they have a warrant signed by a judge. The administrator would have to phone our attorney, and the attorney would come out to verify and make sure that the legal process is followed. Because if it's signed by a judge and it says the address where this person's going to be at a certain time, so on and so forth, there's not much we can do. However, we're going to fight and keep that child safe, because that's our number one duty, is to keep all children safe. We don't care what your immigration status is. We don't care what, socioeconomic background. We're here to protect our students. If they are on our campuses, in our schools, we're going to protect them regardless. So we have policies and plans in place. All of our principals, administrators, and teachers understand this policy. I work in Oxnard. I'm a teacher down at Lopez, which is right in the heart of Oxnard. We have a lot of immigrant families there. So that was a big issue with us in Oxnard. So, and the second question is, what happens if a student is orphaned or left? Typically, we would go through the county or go through social services to support that child. If it's a immigration case, what if the student is, it doesn't matter what their immigration status is, if they're a citizen or not, they have a green card or not, that is something we're going to treat that kid equally. So we're going to support that student no matter what. And that is getting in contact with the support services that are like-minded, that are not going to say, okay, I'm going to take this kid over to, detention area, something. No, we're gonna support that kid. We're gonna make sure that student gets to family that's in the country or in the city, making sure that they're safe, they have the things they need, they're able to attend school the next day and have some continuity in their lives, because that will just devastate a child. Devastate a child if you take a child away from their parents. So we're gonna make sure that child is taken care of.
Thank you.
In addition to the schools, we have 5, I believe, organizations in the county that are specializing right now in walking parents through the process of establishing guardians in the event that parents are taken away. One is Indivisible Ventura. Their website is indivisible.org. The attorneys that work with Swap Meet Justice, I believe, are from CRLA, and they're also teaching that. I don't know the ones in the East County. People can contact Maria Davalos at Manos Unidos. She's part of the program establishing this for the Avenue. And then if you contact me by email, I have phone numbers for other things that will help the immigrants. We have people driving them the kids driving them to school so they're not alone on the street, and taking parents to grocery stores or to work so that they can safely arrive. And so I have a set of phone numbers that I can share with people for that.
Thank you. I'm going to try to alternate between in-person and Zoom questions here. Did someone else want to? Sorry.
I just wanted to, we switched a little bit, but going back to Councilmember Campos and the recent win for the West Side with having a special policy approved and endorsed, I should say, by council last week in regards to a new retail center policy over a portion of where Stanley Avenue and Ventura Avenue meet. In regard, piggybacking on what she said, connecting with, your local development community to find where that passion project is for a local developer that is connected to the community and wants to honor the community vision by way of that policy to introduce that potential new use to the area. It doesn't change the underlining land use designation, which is industrial. That was something that was, talked about extensively at council, but it does allow the opportunity for new vision. In my research recently with grocers typically, depending on the size of the grocer you're looking for, be it an Aldi or a Trader Joe's or a Ralph's or a Vaughn's, obviously need different footprints. And they also look at the density of households within a certain radius of that site. And that's what kind of pulls them there. It also pulled the drive time to that establishment. They typically within that radius look for a 7-minute or less drive time. And that's how we've been trying to get larger grocers to not only the west side, but also the east side. So one of my projects that I manage for the city is taking our general plan to the finish line after a 5-year effort. And with that, we are looking at policies to encourage grocers to establish on the west side and the east side of Ventura, as well as looking, this is kind of new news for Councilmember Campos, is exploring a policy that would discourage food establishments that have drive-throughs on the west side. So that was something that we had heard from the community and Councilmember Campos, and we're starting with that policy on the west side. We hope it takes maybe, ignites from there for other areas of the city, but at least we're honoring that feedback from Councilmember Campos in the community. Of course, that will then, dictate future implementation actions that are yet to be seen as part of our implementation program, but it at least sets the stage to start having those discussions.
Thank you. Sorry, Fields, we have more. Oh, please wait your turn. We have other questions to get to. We'll get back to you if we have time. Hold on a second. I'm going to take this one online before I lose it, and then we'll get to Matt in the back. Fern asks, are there any plans to assist people who don't get Social Security checks in time to pay bills or don't come at all? Not sure who'll be able to answer that or if there's anything that can be done.
Is this on? I would connect with the Continuum of Care group at the county of Ventura, particular Kimberly Alber or Jennifer Harkey would be able to connect with additional resources to answer that question. They're actually within the county executive office, but the Continuum of Care wing within the CEO's office touches healthcare agency, human services agency, backpack medicine, social services. Everyone's at the table. So they'd be good to start with and connect you to where you can find the answers to those questions.
Thank you. Everyone in the back.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah, it's going through. Can you guys hear me or no? Okay. I have two questions. It seems to me right now like we have some really well-intentioned lawyers and kind of small organizations that are doing advocacy for immigrants' rights and informing people about their rights. But we also have, 10 localities in our county. We have the County of Ventura with a lot of resources. I'm not seeing a lot of evidence of coordination or funding right now of organizations that can assist. In fact, I even saw in the city council, maybe we don't even need to fund that because other people are doing that. And I just want to kind of ask the question, how are, we actually looking at, I would estimate we could have likely 100,000 undocumented immigrants in our county, right? That's a significant factor for schools, for the economy, tens and tens of thousands of students. So is there coordination going on that I'm just haven't been able to really find? Are there resources being sent to these organizations with we're paying taxes and we've elected officials, I think, that stand for those values. So that's my first question. My second question is the new CAL FIRE map came out, and it's really alarming because it's saying that the entire south side of the avenue essentially is a high fire risk. So I'm estimating that I'm speculating that we could see a loss of private insurance on the south side of the avenue. They seem to think that the fire could run through the riverbed and jump over the freeway and burn the houses. I don't know if that was actually scientifically developed or if they just looked at quasi forestry map and saw that there was some vegetation in the river bottom. I really would like to see if it's possible people of authority challenge the recategorization of the higher fire risk on the south side of the avenue, because if people are complaining about a wine bar and a coffee shop for gentrification when when, people that are renting out to modest renters right now, when they lose their private insurance and have to go on the FARE program, we could see a huge wave of displacement because the numbers just won't work anymore. And people will have to rent out to higher income folks. So that's my speculation and my concerns. And if you guys could address those, thank you.
So the first question, Justice for All and Indivisible Ventura are across the county. They have several organizations in several cities. I think 9 cities participate with them fully, and or nine organizations in 9 cities. And so they are well coordinated with resources. And it's the same resources being given to everyone who's participating in protecting our immigrant community. Regarding other people on city council, you are the ones who can influence how they think and perceive what's happening. I'm limited in what I can say to them or how much time I can spend speaking to them. But if they get emails all the time, encouraging them to discuss with them the problems you bring up about the avenue, the population of the avenue, they may start to pay attention. They need to know how many of the rest of us care in order for that to happen. And then, does one of you want to talk about his second question?
Hi, so yeah, CAL FIRE just issued their local responsibility hazard area maps just last month. It's already April. We're required to adopt that in July. The science behind that, I wish I knew. I know there's fire ignition science that, tracks with the polygons and how they're drafted. I'm sure that other residents in the city and in the county are feeling the same concerns regarding fire insurance. So I would recommend lobbying your county supervisor and what they can do with our state lobbyists and other electeds to talk to our insurance commissioner. I know that there's some stuff happening at the state level that has been, in discussions for some time since Thomas Fire, the Woolsey Fire, and now, it's always fire season, right? So I would encourage you to reach out to your local electeds in addition to city, because that just trickles up, and that's where that concern could hopefully be addressed. I do know that, I don't know if I already said this, forgive me if I did. The map will be adopted by July, so just stay tuned to the city council agendas, and then I would imagine that presentation from our fire department will talk more about the science behind the mapping and what it means from a local perspective.
All right, and just to answer a little bit of your question, yeah, we partner with the county, and the county usually kind of recommends from there who do we seek out for to support a certain child or family.
So I'm sorry, just to follow up. I mean, I understand there's some great volunteer organizations, and that's what I tried to say in my question. But we have, if we combine the budgets of all of our localities and county, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. I was at a fundraiser this Saturday where they're doing a raffle for fundraising, right, for one of the major organizations we're talking about, right? So that alarms me, and I hope that we could have an answer maybe next month or something where it's like, actually, I think we need all the cities to sit together with the school districts, with the county, and actually have a deliberate plan on how we're going to make sure that we're resourcing these organizations, because it's not a small amount, 100,000 people not knowing what their rights are and not knowing where to go. If we think that, one little meeting here in Bella Arts 6 weeks ago is going to inform, 14,000 people on the avenue, it's just simply not accurate. And we need to have an organized and serious approach because they have an organized and serious approach. So I'll stop at that. Thank you.
We have David here that wants.
Is this working? Yeah. I'm really concerned about, there's a storage facility down by Highway 33 that's about 3 miles from one of your schools. Not 3 miles, 3 blocks from one of your schools, and it is a storage facility for lithium batteries. If you followed what has happened up in Moss Landing, which is different than what we have here, but we learned some things there that were extremely concerning. Number one, those containers you see when you come in, they're white. You'll see them on the right as you come up 33. They say that they have suppression devices on them to put the lithium batteries out if they catch fire, and they completely failed at Moss Landing. What happened at Moss Landing is my daughter lives in Santa Cruz, which is quite a distance from Moss Landing. She was locked down because of these fires. The fire department was helpless. They had no way to put them out, and I'm pretty sure our fire department would be in the same position. And they waited 3 days while it was filling the air full of who knows what. You probably have to be a scientist. It destroyed the soil around Moss Landing, which, if you've ever been there, is a beautiful place like our river. And a month later, it reignited. So what I would like to hear, if you know anything about this, and you might not, I don't mean to trap you, but they got to go. Those batteries can't be that close to a school. Can you help me?
Hi, thank you so much for that question. Yes, this TNT crane has about 300 Conex boxes that we are told have batteries in them. It's a siting location for commerce from the port to another location. This is an active violation case with our code enforcement division. The fire marshal, so the top person, is heavily involved. And in fact, we're meeting tomorrow with our emergency services manager, our planning manager, myself, our director, and some of his staff to wrap our arms whether or not such storage could be permitted, what kind of discretionary permit would be permittable on that site, if at all. We're still trying to wrap our arms around it, but fire has been out there regularly engaging with the property owner. None of the boxes are connected. They're stored. All of them have fire suppression. I can even cite that for you. I have it up here on my. Hold on, I don't want to get the terminology correct or incorrect. Each Connex is equipped with a fire alarm system and fire suppression system, including FDCs. And we are looking at it. Obviously, we have health and safety at the top priority. And so with fire being involved, there's no initial concern. We are addressing it, and we're engaging with the property owner. And I've told Councilmember Campos that after our internal meeting tomorrow, we figure out what, if any, thing like this happen on site. Is it temporary in nature? Does he want to do a smaller footprint with a use permit because it is an industrial zone property? We'd have to look at the parameters and the buffers, as you mentioned, to potential sensitive receptors. So that is still TBD. And once I have an update, I will provide your council member with that information.
Hold on.
That it's temporary storage. Some of those have been there for over a year. That's one thing that concerns me. And another one is, can we at least stop them from bringing them in? In the last 2 weeks, they brought in another 40.
We're still wrapping our arms around the situation. This was just brought to our attention a few weeks ago. So we are trying to truth out through aerial photography. How long have they been here? What's the total intensification of use? So we can find out legally what we can or cannot ask them to do. But as a violation case, they have to abate that violation, either through a permit, if there is a means to permit them, or to remove them from site. And typically what that involves is a compliance agreement where we work with them to make sure that they're removed, or whatever unpermitted element is needing to be removed is removed safely and with everybody's approval and awareness.
you're aware that they did not inform the fire department when they started moving those in.
I do not know that background, no.
They talked to Brett.
I have a meeting with him tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we have another question over here.
I'm not. Is it on? Okay, okay, you're right. I just wanted to share rather than a question. Went to the Swap Meet Justice on Sunday and I have enough information here I will put on the back table. It's in English and Spanish. There's not very much, but there's some about the driver program that you talked about. There is some about citizenship for people who would like to get that going, and it's at the last Sunday of every month over in Oxnard. And then there's another one that has to do with what do I do if ICE or the police are at my door? And I will put those there, and I will go next Sunday, the Sunday, last Sunday in April. And if you want me to I will get stacks of these instead of a few little like this. I would recommend people taking them, not because you need them, but because you will meet people who need them. Have them ready to hand out. Say, this is for you. Even you may not need it. Your neighbor may need it. Your mother may need it. Your grandmother may need it. That's one of the ways we can get it out on the avenue, is for everybody to have some and share it. And if it isn't needed, okay, they'll wrap their fish in it. But if it is, it'll help.
All right, anyone else have a question they want to ask? All right, I'm gonna ask one that we had submitted in advance. Basically as simple as, when can we get a pool? They say at West Park, but I think in general on the west side, I've heard this come up. It's been a while since I've heard it come up, but is that process something, like, what more can you share in that regard?
So I couldn't hear you well. Could you repeat that question, please?
Yeah, when can we get a pool at West Park or on the west side? I know that was one of your campaign promises, but also is there something in the city staff? Maybe, yeah.
So there is some money at the city still being held for the pool. We have had or did have a memorandum of understanding with the school district for about 27 years. That fell apart over the last couple of years with the arrival of a new superintendent. However, there is a project that is along the path right now, which is a trade school on the avenue, focused very much on developmentally disabled and kids with autism. And I'm trying to get them also to take in people aging out of the foster care system that didn't have good opportunities through school. And their design includes a pool for the west side and several other amenities. So as when you hear about the trade school project, they will ask you for support, financial support, but also letters and emails. Anything you can do to support that will bring us closer to actually having a pool on the west side, so that everybody's grandmother can learn to swim, so then the children can.
So Liz, you're saying that part of the plan for the trade school is to build a pool as well? Is that what I heard correctly?
Yes.
Did I hear that correctly?
Yes. And there is a person here who's involved with the project if she wants to talk about it.
The pool. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yes, it is in the plan. We're advocating very hard for it to stay in the plan. I think the only question is how big. A proper community sized pool is pretty big. I know the project owner is very interested in that. So as long as we can make it fit, they're there could be a community-sized pool. It may be a little bit smaller, but TBD on the rest of the details, depending on the siting. So it is in the conceptual plans right now, so I will confirm that.
Thank you.
Sorry, so James, as far as what happened with the superintendent, so he just tore up the MOU, and did the board approve that, or what happened?
Well, so it was actually before him, the prior superintendent. There hasn't been ever since COVID happened. We almost got that going, if you can remember. Right before COVID, we had a lot of community input, a lot of community-driven action, and then COVID hit, and that went away. So yes, there is an account, there is money that we set aside for the pool. However, there hasn't been any discussions so much with the city. There has been in a committee, however, there wasn't any communication between us and the city in order to get this established. I know that the school district is dealing with a lot of budget cuts, right? We're going through reductions. Recently, we've let go or submitted layoffs for over 100 individuals at our district, which is about 5% of our workforce. We're bringing that back to have a more in-depth conversation, and the discussion will be around, should we rescind that resolution? So right now, it doesn't seem like we've been so knee deep into this declining enrollment. However, that account is still technically there. And it basically the MOU was that we will give whoever the money to start this process. It wasn't so much that was going to be on one of our properties, even though that was discussed. But it was like, okay, we'll pitch. And I think the where it fell apart was the maintenance. The maintenance of the pool was going to be like $500,000 a year, and no one wanted to pay that. So that's where it broke down. And again, it is something that, Liz and I have talked about quite frequently, and we've been kind of upset about it, sharing our frustration with this whole process, because we need one. We need one for the kids. Ventura High has a pool. That one we're having to replace. We're having to rebuild it. Buena has a pool. We have to replace those heaters in there. So there's a lot of structural issues with our properties. Some are almost 100 years old that we have to take care of. So is there a political will? Yes. Is it right now?
So
to be
to
honest.
clarify, the money is still in an account somewhere? It's just sitting in like
Well,
savings, or-
it's in an account. Basically, it's a budgeted area. That's right. It's a line item. It's certain things we can do. We can't put in an account. We're a public organization. We can't, as far as I know, we can't use we can't put money in a bank so much and accrue interest and that kind of thing. So it's a budgeted line item, about $3 million. But I don't know how much a pool costs now. That's the problem, is that back then we said, okay, 7 million or whatever. Now it's like 20 or 30 million. So the cost is just increased. That money stayed the same while everything else. So that's where the political will kind of dies, right? And it's unfortunate, and it's really frustrating, because Liz and I have really worked hard to try to get this going. We see the need is here. That's all I gotta say.
Got it.
It's
Thank you.
frustrating.
Can I ask another question that we received in advance? Feel free to raise your hand if you guys have more questions. Someone that said, let's start the process of building a pedestrian bridge across Highway 33 and the river as suggested in the Ventura River design document. And along, whether it's that or also, we would like to explore design of an aerial tram from the beach along the river to Ojai. Are either of those possibilities? Does this sound familiar to any of you? Maybe. Those are some more dreams. I don't know if that's in any. I mean, I guess one of these is in a design document, so I don't know if that's sort of, anyone want to opine on that?
So, we've been talking about an aerial tram for at least 10 years. ever since Ron got very active here. But originally, the discussion wasn't just up the river to Ojai. It was to alleviate some of the burden of public transportation. So the idea was to have a transit center here that also the tram landed at, go to City Hall, go to the government center, go to the East County Courthouse, and other places down to the harbor, up to Ojai, and just along the ocean for tourists. The problem with that is it's a very expensive proposition. So if anyone wins, $500 million in the lottery, I'm sure that community development would be able to develop that. I don't recall the River Parkway plan having the bridge, but I may have missed a meeting. And I'm going to ask our community development assistant director to elaborate.
Thank you. I have not heard of the tram concept, but it is very intriguing, and would involve a lot of parties at the table. The county, Caltrans, potentially the city, and the city of Ojai even. It sounds like a really wonderful concept. I would love to find out more about its inception, and if it's a living document somewhere, I would love to read up on it. The Parkway, the Ventura River Parkway plan, I have also not heard of that document. I'm wondering if that lives within the county's jurisdiction. It's a little bit of a hodgepodge up there when we get by the wastewater treatment center. There's a spot of county, and then it goes back to the city. And so I don't know that as a governing plan within the city of Ventura. But again, a very interesting concept. I know that the Ojai Valley Land Conservancy is doing a Parkway Preserve project up there. I'm not sure if that's in relation to that vision or maybe connected to the area in that context. But if there is more information out there about that, I would love to learn about it and potentially see how feasible it may be with our county partners.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, those do sound nice, but obviously they cost a lot of money. I know access to the Ventura River is something that people have been wanting more of. I know the Parkway Preserve further up, just past city limits, that'll provide more access eventually. But let me sort of ask maybe a more wide-ranging question. While that may seem more like pipe dream, for lack of a better term, what is something in the short term that our citizens can look forward to seeing in the near future that we'd consider a win, some project on a smaller scale that we know is happening here on the west side? If someone wants to opine on that.
So there are several smaller projects coming to the west side. One problem is they're not fully funded. There's also a lot of pressure. There's a lot of feeling that we may lose federal money if we, sneeze or whatever. My viewpoint. Okay. And so West Park is a big issue. The skate park is going to be ready soon. I went by there this morning and they're doing the part of the shaping of the bowl that adds in the extra jumps and swirls. And it's really beautiful watching these professional people like glue pieces together. It's like watching a grandma sew things. It's really nice. And so I think that that's going to be a very exciting moment for the west side when that is complete. Other projects may be a little bit on hold or backed up because of the financial situation and waiting out Washington. There are state grants, but we don't always get them. So as much as possible, we're going to have to find our recreation where we can. The River Parkway, the bike lanes are very good here. Main Street Moves is going to improve day by day. And that's pretty much what's on the west side, unless the school district is willing to open the schools for us.
I'm sure couple things. First, I just want to mention before I forget, Kathy said that the Lower Ventura River Parkway Vision Plan does envision access to the river since the county owns the parcel on the far side of Stanley. Privately owned parcels must be acquired to bring the parkway plan to fruition. So there's that. Whether if and when that happens, is up for debate. Go ahead.
Just to touch back on that last question about kind of like the small wins. Well, Ventura Unified, we're opening up. I don't know if you remember the Boys and Girls Club here, right off of EP Foster. Well, now we revamped the whole thing. We're getting all the bows and the lights on, but it's going to be a community center for us. And what that means is that our students are going to use it as a expanded learning or after school care. It has several classrooms, about 4 classrooms. It has a gym, like a full-on gym. And it's a great area for the community to meet. So it's going to be a free area for the community. If the community wants to have, debates, if they want to have more, just having another spot to choose from, that's going to be open to the public with the school district. So we're really excited about that. I'm totally excited. That should be done in the coming months, right before the start of this school year coming up. So that'll be done. 2 other things, we have 2 properties on the avenue that are going through that are surplus properties are going through the processes of, what should we do with them. The board has met to discuss those properties. However, we haven't met to discuss any proposals. So proposals are being sent for both the district office and the Avenue School. And then what's not on the Avenue School is the Washington School. So we're going to be looking at that. If you have an idea, or if you want to see something on the Avenue, pay attention to those board meetings, because I think in June, that's when we start our conversation about the old Avenue School and also what we call the ESC. It's our district office. And that's like 34, 32 acres. It's a large site. So one of the areas that we've been discussing is workforce housing, and possibly pairing with the city to have some kind of workforce housing agreement where our employees, city employees, can have like affordable housing. As long as they're not going to get kicked out if they move to a different place. This is like a community what we're building. So that is something that's in the discussion. We haven't made any decisions on those properties, just to be clear. But I'm excited for that. Those are big wins. Tell us what you want. We're really open to those suggestions.
Go ahead, Liz. Yep.
So for clarity, the property formerly known as the Boys and Girls Club will be open, meaning the fields as well as the building? The fields that are directly adjacent as well as the building?
Yes, if there's no kids there. Right, because our plan is to have those fields open, but if students are during school hours or after school hours, then yeah, no, it's not going to work. But if it's on the weekend, yeah, you'll have access to the field, I believe. I'm gonna double check on that, but I'm 99% sure.
So for public meetings, like the upcoming compressor meeting, other meetings that need to be on the west side that are public meetings, we would be able to reserve if it's available and utilize that building.
Yes, it's through. Yeah, you could reserve it through an app. I think it's called Facilitron, and you just go on it and say, hey, I want this, at this time, and here's the hours and stuff like that. It's really simple. I mean, you could do that for all of our properties. You want to do that for E.B. Foster's, lunchroom or gym. That is something you can do. But we're trying to keep it free. We're going to try to keep it accessible, and it has a big basketball court. I mean, you could put a lot of people in there. So if there's a big event, it's kind of a no-brainer at that point.
Just to piggyback a bit, I'm happy to hear that there is a document that exists out there. I'm wondering if it's regarding the pedestrian bridge over the river. I'm wondering if it's connected with a downstream project for the Matilaha Dam removal, or a county plan or within our parks division. Again, I am in the community development department, but I haven't heard of that specific document, but it's exciting. And I'm happy to hear that its vision is there and hopefully will be implemented with a coordination of any private county and city jurisdiction project to move that forward. Exciting things on the west side and in the city in general, as noted earlier by Alejandra, one of our communications specialists, we have our first public workshop associated with our objective design standards. This is next Wednesday at 5:30, April 9th at City Hall in our community meeting room. Each municipality and jurisdiction is required by a few different Senate bills to have objective design standards. This is to help multifamily housing proceed with less, I guess, oversight and process time delays that affect many housing projects throughout the state. Those are Senate Bill 330, 35, and 9. This is a big data collection effort. We have an architect on contract that we've had on contract for some time to help get the ball rolling. It will be definitely community driven. We have 12 different design documents that govern design in the city, 12. And what we are trying to do is articulate what it really means to be Ventura. We hear that a lot from our decision makers, from our design review committee, make it more Ventura. Well, what does that mean? I think it means a little bit of different for everybody on the board, in the community, and probably in this room. So what we're trying to do with these 12 research efforts, this 12 document research effort, is to try and tease out commonalities, themes, potential starts to objective design standards that we can then adopt and then have to adhere to those state law requirements. So again, April 9th, next Wednesday, 5:30, Spanish translation available. Main Street Moves is moving after we got the okay from our council to move forward with the Pedestrian Mall Law Act, which is going on consent for initiation next Tuesday on April 8th at council. The project is now in Community Development's lap. We are working with Downtown Ventura Partners, Downtown Ventura Organization, Economic Development, and our community councils to get the word out there. We're having a visioning workshop downtown at Farmers Market on May 31st. That will also have a side exhibit at the Ventura County Museum. So that is also one first effort of many to engage in a short, mid, and long-term vision with the Downtown Main Street Moves program. Primarily looking at some quick wins with activation of these spaces. Some ideas that we've been floating around is partnering with our high schools and getting our bands, doing performances on the stage. It gets them out there, practice, some performance time, parents can come down and enjoying the pedestrian mall experience. So really trying to think out of the box with engaging with our community and getting them out there. Some talk of having a talent show in conjunction with Q1047 and the Mambo show in the morning and having them have a spot on the morning show if they win. So these are all ideas that are really, if I could be, that's so funny. I just call it getting the stoke back with being creative. Sorry to be kind of basic with my language, but it's really igniting a synergy of creativity within the city and within the community. So city staff and everybody are really excited for the opportunities ahead. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our general plan update. We're moving that forward. We have our first show before Planning Commission on the 4th Wednesday of April. I think that's the 23rd or the 24th, but it's the 4th Wednesday of the month. And then we're having 3 consecutive hearings before City Council for study sessions, if you will, May 13th, 14th, and 15th. I'm sorry, Councilmember Campos, for that. But we're going to be having a lot of opportunities for further community outreach as we finalize the general plan effort. You can learn more about our general plan on planventura.org and dates for future meetings. Another announcement that I think affects all of Ventura, if my phone would cooperate with me, is we recently were awarded $9.8 million from the state for an encampment resolution fund. This is huge. This is actually a really, really big win for the city. It's a competitive grant program that's available to jurisdictions to help individuals experience homelessness. 9.8, we're going to go into helping assisting our unsheltered in the Santa Clara and Ventura River Bottoms. We're also partnering with the Housing Authority of the City of Ventura to support 15 permanent supportive units at the Valentine Road Apartments, as well as a future development of 30 permanent supportive housing units at a project called Pasteur Drive, which will be located at Valentine Road Projects. So much more to come as we wrap our arms around that grant. That hopefully we'll be seeing some changes in the field soon, engaging with our partners too, with wraparound services as we use that money to help those who are experiencing homelessness. So those are just the updates I have for me. Thank you so much.
No, I don't got anything.
Hi, everybody out in TV land. I was asking about the Main Street Moves
Yes.
activity. When might it be visible to someone?
So thank you for that question. We're looking to have 2 to 3 like parklet ready plug and play designs for establishments that don't already have a parklet in front of their restaurant or store by fall of this year. We're trying to avoid construction of these within the summer months. So from Memorial Day to Labor Day, although there will be a couple privately initiated ones that don't want to wait for the plug and play. They have their own vision. So there are some that are moving forward. But we're really hoping to get movement on changing that physical space by the end of this year. But again, a lot of looking to have some quicker energy there by way of that human activation that I was talking about, engaging with local community groups, schools, et cetera, to just fill the spaces, have some interactive things. One idea that was floated was having a pickleball court just randomly at the 200 block and seeing what happens. So again, it's that cool creative synergy that's coming. Another idea, I have to share this. This is really cool. Our IT director had this idea. He hit me up on Teams, if you all know what Teams is. And I know it. So I had this dream. Like, oh, okay. And he's on, you have to hear me out. I had this dream. He had a dream that he had sensors on the pylons on the pier that tracked wave activity, and had this idea that they would correlate with light strands or light fixtures in downtown to mirror the frequency of the wave and the tides, because we're bifurcated from our coastline with the 101. And that was one thing that we love about Ventura is we're on the coast, babe, right? And so we lose that connection with the freeway. And to bring that element into downtown, I mean, I just get tingles even talking about it. But even our IT director is getting excited about this. And so just, and that's when I realized, like, we really have something really cool at our fingertips right now that could change not only immediately, but the landscape of our downtown for decades. So please get involved. Come see us May 31st. We're active online. We have a Main Street Moves page. Connect with Councilmember Campos, and I'm sure we'll be advertising those with our communications team and through City Manager Bill Ayub's updates.
I got one for you. Maruha.
Hi.
Hi, I'm over here.
Hi.
The Leap of Faith project,
Oh gosh, yes.
that seemed to be, it was going pretty good, and then all of a sudden just kind of hit a
It's
wall.
because I left.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. I'm just kidding. It was probably funding, to be honest. It was probably funding. No, thank you.
Oh, you're saying funding? Sorry.
Funding.
Okay.
Funding. Funny funding.
No, funding, I got it.
Yeah.
And just another one with all this wind we've had, that fence keeps blowing over onto the sidewalk. Who would we notify?
Me.
Okay, the fence keeps blowing on the sidewalk.
Okay, I'll take note of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. No, thank you for bringing it to our attention. We'll connect with the on-site construction company. Usually the GC, the general contractor out there, should be keeping those kind of elements tight and secure. So we'll connect with them and make sure they're doing so. This is along the Ventura Avenue frontage, I take it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sending to Mike.
Thank you. Maruja, I have a question for you specifically. I was wondering if there was any desire from the city to open up the budget process. I know we're like into it this year already, but a city manager or someone from, I believe, a different jurisdiction had told me that their jurisdiction issues out a request for projects like in the fall before they start their budget process. And then community members can recommend projects for consideration into the budget, the CIP specifically. And they don't take everybody's project in, but like, for example, Pete, we were able to get the Pete Freeman Transit Memorial Hub in the CIP, right? And that was advocacy that we had done a little late. I think it was like January by the time we were making the rounds, but I think it would have been easier and also nice to have a pathway direct with staff, so we don't have to all show up to a to a like city council meeting and, you know, be all formal about it. So I would make that recommendation and see if there was any kind of desire that you've seen from staff on collaboration early like that.
Thanks, Helen. I was just taking note. I have not seen, although to be fair, my knowledge of finance is minimal. I know how to spend money and that's about it. So I really don't know outside from our internal budget process, and I'll pass the mic to Councilmember Campos because she'll know more about it. But I know we do have CDBG funding where we cast out the web to the community to garner funds in that way. I know that's not directly what you're talking about, but that is my understanding of an opportunity there for the benefit of the room and people listening. But regarding the budget process, I'll see if Councilmember Campos can expand more.
So one thing that you know about the budget process is that we happen to have on the board of Westside Community Council a member of Measure O subcommittee. So he can explain a lot to you about the combination of the city funds and Measure O and how those are kind of stratified. But when you're talking about projects that the community wants, don't hesitate to email our really effective new public works director, Charlie Ebling, and he may not email you back directly, but he will pass it on to the person who will be gathering that information. Once you've heard back from him, then Marco could start talking to Greg, our budget manager. You can also CC your council member on everything you send regarding that, because when it's ready for us to push it, then the council members can give staff direction to look into things. So together we can get something done or get that kind of change a little bit working.
Yeah, and it's almost like you have to, once this year's budget process ends, we almost have to start working for next year and start advocating for next year's budget right in the summer and stuff like that. So we'll get more into that. I'm going to ask one more question before I do closing remarks. Talking in budget, we hear about declining enrollment and how that affects funds, and also federal funds and all these different funds and lack thereof for whatever reason coming in the local level. What, with constrained budgets, and obviously there's so many different things on everyone's wish list, what are your priorities when looking at budgets, right? You have to make cuts somewhere. I mean, that's economic scarcity of resources, right? So what do you see as your top priorities within a budget?
Well, I appreciate that question. It's a very important one. Declining enrollment is something that all districts, except for maybe, what was it? I can't remember. It's one of those like Bakersfield, areas. Inland Empire, yeah, it's kind of in there. So there's some schools in there, or school districts, that are not seeing the drastic declining as we are. But we have to kind of prioritize, right? As we're scaling down, or what they call right sizing, it is making sure that the student is the focus. That's the first person that we have to think about, and then we go from there. So our decisions that we're making benefiting this student, all students, is that decision going to affect them? Are we taking a program away? Are we taking a teacher away? Are we taking a paraeducator away? We have to look at that student. So the priority, my priority, has always been the student, and then work our way out. Another priority too is to make sure that we are absolutely fiscally responsible by law and by the state law. We have to be solvent. We have to make sure that our budget is, is not going in the red. Because we've had districts, I'm not going to say what districts, but they're around here, that had that issue, and they were almost taken over by the state. And when that happens, they go by balance sheet. They just go, oh, clack, clack, clack. I'm going to get rid of this, this, and this, and this. Okay, you're solvent. And that is a very, draconian, a very unempathetic way of solving budget issues. So we have to protect our students. We have to make sure our local, our community voices the needs and making sure that the greatest need is funded. And that's where I'm at. Great question, though.
Thank you. Councilmember Campos, your priorities in the budget?
Well, I think you know that my priority is the avenue, although once I'm on council, I represent the whole city. But I have now and have always had a passion for correcting the way homeless are treated in the city of Ventura. I think that we need to establish a drop-in center that has counseling and clean socks and an opportunity for people to take a shower, maybe lockers to keep their things contained so that they have dignity when they walk in the world with us. That's a big, big undertaking. So right now, the first and foremost project for homeless would be, and the police are working very hard on the avenue right now, to get rid of the Scary Vaughn's image. And they're going in there every hour almost, all during the day, and arresting drug dealers and picking up people who they know are actively using drugs, taking them to the hospital to get cleaned up from the drugs, or getting them to counseling centers, or just letting them know they cannot hang out at Vaughn's Plaza or anywhere along the avenue to do drugs. Because over the last 30 years, almost 30 years that I've been here, I've watched many times moms walking the kids to school, pushing a baby carriage, and the older child is stepping over the feet of a homeless person who's asleep or drunk on the sidewalk. And I realized by us thinking we're compassionate, ignoring it, we've normalized it for an entire generation of young people. So I'm making a big effort to have enforcement against the people that are not behaving right. And then our community development department oversees the homeless programs. And I tell you, everybody in there cares deeply about finding solutions and finding ways to help. So that's one thing I'm passionate about. The other is to help the avenue grow in ways that everybody wants, like having a store up by Stanley. That neighborhood is really devoid of a lot of goods and services. Now, it benefits Main Street Moves if people go there, but it's also easy to get on the highway and drive to Ojai or drive to Oxnard, and that doesn't help us. We need the tax dollars to take care of potholes and things. So a lot of my time is spent encouraging people to go for a walk with me on the avenue and buy coffee at Lovewell or some of the other places. Spend some money here. I really encourage all of you to spend money on the avenue.
Thank you. Thank you for an informative discussion. You guys each take a few seconds if you want to have any closing remarks.
Oh, I just appreciate everybody coming. I mean, I know there's only 3 people here at the end, and oh, okay. Well, we got some folks. Yeah. No, I appreciate everybody coming though. Those who did come and or who are watching online. Just real quick, the district is going through definitely some changes. Definitely, public school or public education is taking a hit nationally and locally. All politics are local. However, we have a very strong board that believes in public education. So I just wanted to kind of voice that we're here to protect our kids and we'll do anything to do that.
I don't really have anything, but I kind of had advertised our events with my last little spiel. But thank you so much for having me. I'll leave a couple cards in the back. If you have any questions or if you hear anybody that has any questions, please have them reach out to me. I'm pretty responsive. And again, if I don't know the answer, I'll find someone who does. So thank you. And thank you for everybody online too.
And I would just remind everyone who's still in the room and on Zoom, it's very important to engage with the contractor who's doing the environmental impact report for the compressor station. I think that if we're able to have that moved a little bit away from the school, it will make a lot of change in our community. There's no compressor in the entire United States less than 1.5 miles from a school, except this one that's 70 yards away. So it's very important for me. Also, it's a project that I started working on 5.5 years ago at the community council level when I think James was still chair. And so it's like a real priority for me, not related to council, although the city has an attorney working on it with several others. And then the other thing is, please engage. Please email your questions or problems. I know Jim doesn't hesitate to, and I doubt we've still solved the tennis court cleaning day issue, but you can keep giving me the information, and I'll keep telling the people at Parks in charge of that and the community development and everybody. So eventually you'll be able to play tennis on a dry court. That's it.
Thank you very much. Let's give them a nice round of applause there. Yes, and obviously the discussion doesn't stop here. This is just one opportunity to interact with your representatives, a more local level than say on a dais in City Hall, a little more informal here. We do just have a couple board reports that we pushed to the end. And yes, thank you to those that are still with us on Zoom and in the room here. Obviously, it'll be on YouTube for those that couldn't make it tonight or left a little bit early, but lots of good information tonight. I'm going to invite our treasurer, Kay, to go over what we currently have in funds.
Well, thanks for coming and staying. Well, we have $279.48 in the bank. So we're welcome and open to anybody that wants to donate. It can be done online or you can hand it to me. And I'll make sure that it gets in the bank. Thank you and be safe going home.
Thank you, Kate. Oh, no. Yes, our membership is free. We do have a suggested donation, but it is free to sign up, get on our news, come to our meetings. But, you know, there are some basic expenses, I'll be honest with you, like insurance and renting things like this room. It's anything helps. So please donate if you are able to help us out with that. It'd be greatly appreciated. And tell you, honestly, bring a friend next month, each meeting. That's what we encourage also. I'm going to invite our Secretary of Public Works Liaison, GPAC representative. He's everything. He just wears all hats.
Mine's real quick because Maruja covered most of it. So what I wanted to bring up, end of May, we put the flags up, Memorial Day weekend. So that's coming up. So if anybody wants to donate a flag, you can go to the Flag and Cutlery store on Main at Palm, and it's going to be $38 to donate a flag this year. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Pete. Gonna go ahead and skip Revite since we didn't have a meeting this month. That'll stay tuned for in your email for the next Revite meeting later this month, I believe. Double check with our chair, Ron, on that. And no old business announcements. We have Adopt a Block. We're not doing it every month. We're transitioning to a more periodical Adopt a Block. We'll post a flyer, newsletter, and on Facebook. But save the first Adopt a Block on April 19th if you want to volunteer to help clean up the avenue. And also sign up for any other volunteer opportunities. Let us know. Does anyone have any other comments they'd like to share during open comment? Yes, Councilmember Campos.
You mentioned reducing Adopt-A-Block to every other month. However, they make little wipes, like baby wipes, like little diaper wipes, that are specifically for cleaning graffiti. If we start carrying them with us while we're moving down the avenue, the little graffiti that appears on the light poles or windows or sides of buildings that's little, we can clean up without calling the city and waiting a couple weeks, because those graffiti are seen by children. So they're designed to lure children into the joy of gang membership and graffiti. So get your little graffiti wipes. I hate to say you can get them on Google, but there are other places you can get them. The Ace Hardware on Thompson has them. And then we can clean every day instead of just every other month.
Thank you for that.
Sorry, trying to make sure the mic works. I want to give a quick update. We had dumpster day. Okay, the official name is like community cleanup. I suggest dumpster day because it sounds more fun. So anyways, we had about 7 3-ton trash, I guess, containers, and we filled them up. So it sounds like we threw away about 21 tons of trash on Saturday. We usually have 2 of these community cleanup events. We'll probably have another one in the fall, but it was like a lot of people early showing up, and we take pickups. So if you missed it this time around and you have big items and you can't bring them onto Bellway and throw them away, we do have a truck going around that will pick up your large items and throw them away for you. And if you miss your chance, it's going to happen again in the fall. We will share in advance. If it does rain, we do have to reschedule it because the soil gets moist and then the cars get stuck. We already had to tow someone out because we're pushing it this time. So just thank you for your guys' understanding, and there will be more to come on that later in this year as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Anyone else? Great. Our next meeting is the first Wednesday in May. We're going to have an idea hub, so coming and share your ideas about what you want to see done on the west side, and yeah, more information on that at a later date. Once again, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for those that came at the beginning. I know it's hard to stay this late, and I want to thank our panelists for being here. Thank you, James, as well. And our meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone.